The show which you are about to listen to is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of close friends, in particular, a tight-knit band of employees from a small, local horror marketplace. It is all the more tragic in that they were young, but had they lived very, very long lives, they could have not expected, nor would they have wished to present to you as much of the madness and macabre that you're about to witness. For most, an idyllic horror podcast has become much more than a nightmare. The banter that is about to unfold will most likely lead to one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history. Welcome to Terror Traders Creepcast.
What's up, creeps? It's Jason, a.k.a. the Pope of Pain and the co-owner of Terror Trader, your favorite year-round horror marketplace here in spooky-ass Chandler, Arizona. Come down. Let's get your freak on a little bit, you know? Oh, by the way, this just in. This week only, Justin, listen to this. 10% off the entire store for any big booty goth chicks. Oh,
do I qualify?
Yeah, look, man, that's right. I don't make the rules. I just enforce them, so don't hate the message. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding here. We don't give discounts. I'm just playing. So, and speaking of Justin, JDK, my East Coast ghost, hailing from Salem, Massachusetts. How you doing today, buddy?
Good, buddy. Crawling straight out of Toulon's chest. What's
Whoa,
up?
look at that. Look at that. Well, nice segue, by the way. All right, well, let's just get into it because no one wants to hear us talk. And guys, on the phone, we're super excited because we have legendary film pioneer and the founder of Full Moon Features. We're talking with Mr. Charles Band. Charles, how you doing today, sir?
I'm still trying to digest that intro. Pope of Pain. Wait, Pope of Pain and big. What was the goth chick thing?
10% off the entire store for big booty goth chicks today. That's
big booty goth chicks. Wow. Okay.
Hey, we like to have fun here. No, that's a good.
Yeah. Definitely.
How you doing today?
I'm doing great here at the Full Moon headquarters in Hollywood.
I love it.
Just managing the madness, all the movies. And, it's a lot of fun, and I'm excited about coming over and hanging out with you guys in August.
It's going to be a blast. It's going to be good. And this is, I want to jump. You have a rabid fan base, obviously, out here, but we want to give people a little bit more in depth today and get a let's know about Charlie's a little bit more, just a little bit more. And before we go crazy here in August and all that. And look, before we get started with what you've done with Full Moon, I just learned that you started Media Home Entertainment back in the late 70s, which
I did.
Yeah. For those who don't know, was the first independent home video distribution company in North America. And let's put it in a little more perspective here, Justin. You guys distributed 78 Halloween, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, even Texas 1 and 2. And to this day, if we sell an old VHS tape with the media label on it, out of the store, it goes for big bucks. People want that media label. So it blew my mind, man. Now, did you predict this? I mean, the video store craze back in the early 80s. You knew that was going to be such a big thing, or is it one of those like, hey, let's just roll the dice here?
No, I felt it. I was in my 20s, and I already made some movies.
Yes,
a big collector of anything and everything, from comic art, comic books, 16 millimeter prints. I was just like a freak. And what I did around that time is with a couple of other Hollywood celebrity types, we pooled our resources and would it was Roddy McDowell, if anyone knows who that was.
Of course.
Roddy had the in with the studios, and what he would do is he would borrow 35 prints from the studios, which he was able to do because he was a celebrity. And me and a fellow named Wally Hyder, who owned a well-known recording studio in Hollywood, we would get that to a film chain, and we would have our own private on 3/4-inch tape movie collection we built up, totally illegal.
Nice.
But it was just for us. It was for me and Roddy and
sure.
and Wally. And so by the end of the year or so, we had about 12, 15 movies on 3/4-inch on what was back then a flat screen that was gargantuan because it wasn't flat. And I learned the thrill of being able to show movies, to friends, at will. Okay, come on over and we'll watch King Kong,
sure.
or Fantasia. It was just an amazing feeling. I thought, well, this is unique and awesome. And then when I heard about the Betamax machine coming out, I thought, oh, fuck, this is going to be huge. I mean, for people to be able to, back then it was not rent, buy. There was no rental.
Oh yeah.
The rental thing really exploded the business. But in the beginning, back in the frickin' 70s, if you wanted a copy of The French Connection, one of the first 20 movies available on planet Earth on, at that time, beta,
right,
you had to spend $49.95, so part of it was like, wow, how many times can you watch The French Connection?
right.
So, but people were buying these things. And then, so I got wind of this. I thought, okay, I don't have any real money, but I know where a lot of the bodies are buried. Let me start licensing rights to these, to movies that I could afford that were cult type movies. So, Groove Tube, Tunnel Vision.
Sure.
And later on, The Boogeyman and I Spit on Your Grave, and eventually, Halloween.
Right.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So the label was called actually MEDA, MEDA.
Right.
And the reason for that is my wife at the time, my first wife, her name still is MEDA.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And so, and I have a, we put posters out. I have a great poster of her surrounded by a million, well, by then, a year later, Betamax and VHS tapes. And so it was a crazy business that was almost like a hobby.
Sure.
And I should have kept a ton of these tapes because I guess, Texas Chainsaw Halloween in mint condition is worth money today.
100%.
Nice
like I said,
change.
and it's like people, once again, I'm 50 at this point, and I never thought, I grew up I was a teenager during the 80s where I was very stoked, to enjoy that. And Justin's a little younger than me, but you did in the 90s. But it's so funny. It was like, I should have kept a tons of these as well because I was a huge collector. Now that we're actually we're actually selling these. We have a little VHS room here and whatever in the store.
Sure.
Media, that's the one. If it has that label, or Wizard, which you're connected to as well.
Yeah, Wizard I did later. So what happened with MEDA is then, because my focus was making movies and you needed a lot of money to grow that business, I just thought, it's just not my thing. And I was made an offer, and it's a long story. And
sure.
when the company was a UK company called Heron, when they purchased MEDA, the first thing they did is they put the I in the name, and it became Media Home Entertainment. So there's a point a few years after I started it when they took it over where the tapes came out. It was a similar looking logo, but it was Media Home Entertainment. But because I love the whole video thing, I went and invented Wizard Video,
right,
where I really licensed a lot of weird, European movies, and I redid the art. And that was at the time when the big box was happening.
Sure.
And so a lot of those early, or almost all the early Wizard Video, by then Betamax was gone. VHS tapes were all in those big box, those huge boxes, which were awesome until the video store. Yeah, the video stores ran out of shelf space. And they said, "No, we don't want these big boxes. Just go back to a smaller box."
I like it. No, that's amazing. No, I'm poor Meta.
Right.
She's like, she goes, "I had it at first, and then it's gone. So now it's me."
Yeah. Well, so it goes. But but no, it was a great period. And then, of course, video just exploded when rental began to happen. Of course, the studios fought initially, as they always do. Because they thought, yes, we can. It's a one-time sale to a store. Then the store can rent it 500 times, for $3. But they eventually, gave that up because everyone was making money, and that really started, decades of the home video business, which, of course, like everything else, ended.
Yeah,
ended because your local Blockbuster is a laundromat now, but for a long time, for many years, that was what kept us alive. That allowed us to make, not just me, other filmmakers in the early to mid '80s, all these cool movies, because it was actually a good business for a while.
For sure.
Charlie, a lot of us in the horror community, we have a lot of similar stories. How we got into the genre, and a lot of that is a credit to you and you paving the way. Where did you get your start? And honestly, what got you interested into all this stuff growing up and made you want to start doing this for a career?
I just, I was lucky enough to grow up. First, I grew up in Italy, so I can do this better in Italian if either of you guys speak Italian. But no, I grew up on a movie set. Literally, my dad made movies, and I just loved the genre. I loved the whole thing, and he made me apprentice, every which way.
Sure.
But I had a love for sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. It was usually sci-fi back in the day. Movies like Jason and the Argonauts and Seven Voyages of Sinbad. And then as I started making movies in my early 20s and failed as well a few times, or many times. I just learned that, sci-fi is a more expensive canvas.
Yeah.
Horror seemed to make more sense. So most of what I've made over these many years is more horror. Although there's an occasional sci-fi show that I was able to pull together. But I just love the genre, and I became friendly with a lot of the artists at the time. I was friendly with Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, and I was a big collector of, not just the early, I was literally at the newsstand buying those early Marvel comics. It wasn't like I had to find them. They were coming out in Italy in the 60s. I went, oh, this looks cool. Fantastic Four. Of course, had I kept them carefully, in mint condition, it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
But, nonetheless, I liked all that stuff a lot. So that was sort of my taste.
I love hearing that. And like I said, I read that you've actually, say with your dad and all that stuff, kind of growing up into this thing. So that's, which is rad. But prior to Full Moon, you also ran Empire International Pictures, right? Which distributed classics like, and once again, these are now we're really getting into like the Ghoulies, Reanimator, From Beyond, Rawhead Rex, one of my personal favorites. Now, when I always wondered about when it comes to, distribution chains or distribution companies itself, it was like what the process, did you choose the films or is it just like, man, let's get our hands on whatever we can and see how it turns out?
No. Well, sometimes you're forced to distribute something. Look, the shortest version of the story is Empire started as a distribution vehicle for the movies I was making. Because all the movies you mentioned, with the exception of Reanimator, movies that I dreamt up. And now Rawhead Rex was a rarity. It was actually an acquisition. A company in the UK made it.
Sure.
But as Empire started, and that was really during the golden days of home video, we had all this financing. We had a big deal with a company back then called Vestron Video.
Yes.
And, money was flying everywhere. And but I was somewhat beholden to the bank. Mm-hmm. And as the company grew, the bank on occasion would say, hey, listen, we have another company we represent. They're having trouble with distribution. Could you distribute, or would you please, or you must distribute this fucking stupid movie? So we had to, bring in other films, to keep everyone happy. So Empire got a little diluted. From the beginning, it was all my stuff, Ghoulies and Troll and Eliminators and all these films. And then by the end of the 80s, it was just hard to deal with them, and they sort of made me an offer that felt good because I was personally liable for bank lines, the loans, and the whole thing. They said, look, we want to make Empire. We're going to change the name and turn it more into a sort of a, I don't know, I can't even think of the right word. I can do it in Italian. But anyway, we want to turn it into sort of a supermarket of a lot of independent movies. A lot of the clients that we or customers that we represent need distribution. And so they basically bought me out. So in 89, Empire ended, even though I kept a lot of the movies, especially Trancers, which I was really close to. And then I decided, well, okay, let me start a new company and learn from my mistakes and definitely not bring in other movies unless, it's something that really fits well with what we're doing. That's when I started Full Moon. And I was lucky that the first movie that I came up with was Puppet Master, which was a big success. Yeah. And distribution was done through Paramount. So we also had a real powerful distributor, doing all the distribution. And that kind of really rocketed Full Moon into the early 90s.
Yeah, and which, once again, you mentioned Full Moon here. That's the first thing people, our fans talk about is obviously Puppet Master, and which is great because it gets the foot in the door in the conversation. And, that's one thing we always loved. I think everybody loves about your movies is like the awesome practical effects you guys use, the puppets and all that. That gives that special touch, I think, in my opinion. But I got a question for you. I've always wanted to ask you this. What puppet or creature was like the most challenging to bring to life? You know what I'm saying? Was there one that was like, man, this thing was a bitch, but it was totally worth it? Or were they all that way?
Nah, not really. Well, okay, yes, I guess. Because again, I still am a freak for practical effects. Yes. You won't see almost any CGI in any of my movies. But when it comes to puppets and dolls and somewhat diminutive creatures, sometimes it takes a while to create the model and the thing and the armature, but none of that is challenging. Sometimes the challenge is more like, how do we pay for this stuff? It's like, that's just money.
Sure.
But when it comes to practical, effects, a lot of the movies I made at Empire where we shipped the effects over, we built them here in the States because a lot of those movies we just talked about were all shot at a studio I owned in Italy for many years, at the Ex Vino della Renta studios. So, we had teams of effects guys, and a movie like From Beyond, that gooey effect, is that's not a miniature, that's not CGI. Obviously, it's a big ass puppet. It took like 8 guys to operate. So, shipping those things over, aside from the cost, and building them and operating them, was on a real grand scale. Even a weird movie I made called Terror Vision.
I love it.
Where this big, huge creature comes out of a TV. I mean, that is, that's real time, real size, no trickery. So those big monster creatures were always the biggest challenge.
Was it? I mean, we always hear about, studios, I guess, filming overseas, and I mean, I know because of breaks and money wise, and is it really that much cheaper to could you?
It so depends on the timeline. Italy, of course, any excuse to be back in Italy since I grew up there was awesome, but there was a period where we were doing well, and the ex Dino De Laurentiis studios Sat Fallo for decades was available at a relatively reasonable price, and at that moment. 84, 83, 84, the dollar was really strong. It was still the lira back then. Now they're euros. Everything's euros.
Yes.
So it was just the right time. So we started. We made 8 or 9 movies real quickly. It was like just being a kid in the candy store, 100 acres, 5 sound stages. Movies were shot there like Barbarella and the Bible. And 2 years into that great fun reign of madness, the dollar totally flipped. The lira became super strong. The dollar got weak. And then you just sit there and go, fuck, this is costing me more than making these movies in LA. What am I, flying over to Italy? And then we kind of wrapped up that whole adventure, So that was, for a moment, great. And then in the early 90s, I kind of discovered a new home away from home in Romania.
Oh.
And, I made movies like Subspecies, In Transylvania.
By the way, Subspecies 5, awesome. We just watched it
thank
last
you.
night. Yes, yeah. And that's something I want to jump in because, you created legendary film franchises, Puppet Master, Subspecies we just talked about, even the Evil Bong or the Ginger Dead Man, which are just always the most fun. If you can narrow it down, I got one I can keep going forever. Which one would you take? And to say, let's keep running this until the day I die. Yeah, I
don't plan to die ever. I mean, even if I'm a head in the jar, just move me around. Put me as a centerpiece on a dining room table. And,
guaranteed.
Something like that. So, it's really a function of what is working and what people like. And, it's not, I'd like to make Head of the Family forever because it's one of my favorite movies it's expensive to make, and it was kind of people like it, but it wasn't, a hit like Puppet Master.
Right.
But you just go where I hate to say where the audience goes and where the money is. If a movie does well and you keep going, wow, people seem to really like this, then we can keep making it. So, you have to, this is still a business, and there's been a lot of thick and a lot of thin during these many years. So when things are going well, I make more movies and, my budgets, even on a tiny level, expand. And when things get really tight, I just make, Evil Bong all the time.
There's been a huge Subspecies audience here, especially this month. We've had people coming in talking about the movie that was coming out.
Oh, that's cool.
They've been showing us their tattoos, which I've seen a lot of tattoos.
Tattoos,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Demonic Toys.
Yeah, we'll have it out in about a week or 2 on Blu-ray and DVD. And that was a real effort because, again, the financing side of all this is really difficult because beyond a certain amount of money, there's no chance in hell we'll ever recover that money. So sometimes you do it for the love of the genre and for the fact that, people have been watching these movies forever. You take a loss, but you go, okay, it's cool. And that was a good example. We sent a whole crew to Serbia. This was made the same way we made the early ones in Romania. So I'm really proud of the work. And another one that's literally 45 years in the making that even makes the Subspecies adventure look like a quickie is the Primevals.
Oh,
and that movie, we just released the trailer.
Yeah.
And that's turned out just amazing. But it literally took from the day I said, let's make it with David Allen, the stop motion animation guy, to the day. And now it's, and I decided, unlike all the other stuff, let me do the festival route because Fantasia's picked it up. So that's being premiered in July in Montreal. And then we're going to Europe at Sitges, and sometimes probably later this year, it'll finally be out, probably in a bigger outlet than what we have. Maybe it'll be some kind of other release, and we'll eventually. So that's I'm stoked about a labor of love that will never recover its cost in a million years. Not even close.
Well, that's one thing we always admire about you was, because once again, we deal with tons of, we're on the merch side of things. We're on the the retail side of things, and which I don't think there's a day that doesn't go by that we're not selling something full moon. And I think that I love the fact that what I can't stand is when you say that let's make a perfect, for example, The Conjuring, great movie, obviously big budget movie and all that, zero merch for it, right?
Zero.
Now let's go to Puppet Master and let's go to series. Oh my God, I got 6,000 square feet. I could fill with just every few puppets and all that stuff. I love the fact that it's like, I don't know if that was a previous thought or pre-thought or afterthought, but the fact that your movies have tons of capabilities for dolls, merch, and all that stuff.
Right. And apropos all of that, it's in many cases it's what's kept us alive, really, because we factor in the money we make on the merch, and sometimes it's pretty good in the budgets of these movies, so that we go, okay, well, putting aside labors of love like Subspecies and Primevals, the average full moon movie, it helps that we get some contribution because of the sale of merch. And it wasn't by design. It's just by, I guess, good luck. A lot of the more well-known franchises are all, very, I don't know what the word is. People used to say toyetic, which sounds ridiculous. But yeah, so puppets and dolls and little monsters. And we're really branching out now. We attended our first licensing show in Vegas last week. And we had so many people coming up. We're making everything from makeup kits to freaking Puppet Master shoes to it's crazy.
That's
so
awesome though. I love it.
Yeah. So and plus we've been doing a lot of our own stuff. Whether it's fancy box sets or 1-to-1 scale replicas, or we did a deal with NECA Toys, and they renewed that. Now they're going to release other I guess action figures or figures based on our characters. So yeah, that's a really big part and exciting looking down the road, because the digital part of the world now, it used to be video and that was awesome. Kind of sucks, you know, and the only reason why we're doing well is we have a big library. But in the old days, you could make a cool movie. Yeah. And if you were careful and you spent within a certain amount of money, you could make an okay return, and then stick around and make the next movie. But that was the direct-to-video days. That's when you shipped VHS or later on DVDs. You sent an invoice. Blockbuster sent you a big check. Yep. You had real money. Now it's all digital dimes. So now there's no, you feed the streaming beast so that people stick around as subscribers. But you don't really make any money other than the fact that you're in business, with a hopefully successful streaming. And then you got AVOD, you got the free channels like Tubi, and all that helps. Right. But you can't, if you pluck out any particular movie, anybody who knows anything about business would go, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you making it? You spent 150, you got back 18. Well, what is your deal? What's but it kind of feeds the monster, No,
I get that. And I look, I'm not against technology and all this stuff. Maybe I'm getting a little bit more old school, but I watch actually less movies now. I find myself, because of the streaming services, I spend hours, I think everybody's listening probably has the same thing, hours just looking for the right movie.
It's the worst. Yeah. It's the worst.
Where back in the day.
And the worst is sometimes you don't find it in 20 minutes, say, you go, fuck that, and then you just go have a drink or something.
So which I love the old days of the video store, because it was all about the box art, right? So in other words, box art was so fucking important. And when you I walked up and I grabbed, Puppet Master or Retro Puppet Master, whether you like it or not, you paid $3 to rent this fucking thing. You're going to watch it, right? So, and I actually, I watched more movies back then. I watched way more movies, and actually, I guess I explored more, and it was thank God I did, because I wouldn't be able to run a shop like this or whatnot.
Right. Well, I'm happy for that, and happy you got that. I'm looking forward to seeing your whole setup there. But I'll tell you how I look at it. So the best. We had a great stretch in the '80s for different reasons, but in the early '90s with Paramount, what was amazing, and it was amazing for other independent filmmakers who managed to make, let's just say, a kind of noteworthy, a unique movie, and there are plenty of them. What was amazing about those days is if you had, a pretty good horror movie and you got it out through distribution and you got it into Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, you would be on the same shelf, the horror section shelf, as Aliens or Terminator. It was an even playing field. Sure. The problem today is You don't get that today. There's all these different streaming sites. They all have their own stuff.
Yeah.
I'm making pretty cool movies. They'll wind up, on my streaming site, buried in Amazon. Unless you know how to look for it, you're not going to see it. Yeah. If you go to Apple, if you have Apple TV and you scroll through whatever the top movies are, most of which are unwatchably stupid, but they're the big studio movies,
right.
But you'll never see rarely an independent movie. So, gone are those days. So the discovery part of this business is tricky, even as a consumer. I do the same thing. I'm sitting out. The irony is behind me, I've got, 3,000 frickin' movies gathering dust,
Yeah.
But, now we're lazy. You sit there with your thumb and you're scrolling and scrolling. Now it's true. I could go dust off the dust, say, okay, let me look at all the, I forgot about this one. I could look at it. But then you got to take it out of the, this sounds terrible, take it out of the fucking memory case, put it in the old Blu-ray machine, dust it off. It's just habits have changed. So that's part of the problem too.
I agree. One thing I liked that you guys did, I think this was 2019, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did that Deadly 10. And which, if those who don't know, like Full Moon produced 10 movies and gave fans like kind of a behind the scenes access, real time, watch live streams, and which I thought was, I don't know how it did for you guys, but I thought it was really cool for me. And it was, I think it was going into the pandemic time fucking frame.
Well, that's the problem. First, it generated some goodwill. It was expensive. We imagine on a low budget, you shoot a movie, you got your camera, you got your crew. Then we had a separate crew. It was only a few guys, but with 3 other cameras shooting the movie, right?
Right.
And that was all available on a live stream. So it costs money. We shot, I think, 6 of the 10 movies, and then the pandemic hit and kind of fucked everything up. Yeah. So that kind of messed that up. But one day someone will do it. A studio will do it with a lot of money,
right?
And it'll be awesome because people are interested in doing that. But it's like anything else. It's not easy. You got to think it through and set it up. But the Deadly 10 experiment, I call it, was pretty cool for about a year. And then
it was fun, man. It was fun, and it was kind of cool to see. I mean, everybody's tuning in to see if we can get some naked chicks here and there and all that shit. But it was
well, that's the best,
right?
What happened to naked chicks? That's also completely fucked up.
Thank you.
Now everyone's so conservative. Oh, it's ridiculous. Now it's like 3 extra shots of a boob and it's over. You can't. All the platforms are not. They're not putting. We have some pretty cool movies I shot back in the day that are sort of I don't want to say historical, but they're clever little sexy movies. I had a label back in the 90s called Surrender Cinema.
Yeah.
And I made movies like Femalian and The Erotic or Exotic House of Wax, silly stuff, but well appointed. It wasn't anything hardcore. It was just people eventually half naked or naked banging. It was that kind of stuff.
It was fun.
You can't get those up anymore. They just don't, the platforms are too worried. About I don't know what, I guess whatever's going on in the world, and it's worse than ever. I mean, worse than ever.
I've always I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, go grab the Full Moon app. I go anybody who's old enough to go through video stores, I go there's a beaded curtain section in the Full Moon app. I go that you're going to fucking like, man. I mean, you even go old school. You had like casting couch and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that shit.
But they were fun movies, and I always loved it. It reminded me your guys' app reminds me of a video store. It's like you got everything you need there. You want your sci-fi, your obviously your horror, and then like I said, you want to peek behind the curtain a little bit and have some fun. Right?
Well, we still do that. I mean, again, as an example, I don't know how many movies. Let's say there's 800 movies up on our we have an app, filmandfeatures.com, and then you can also subscribe to our site on Amazon. Okay. But all those movies, the ones that have a little extra sex, are all edited, quote, edited for television. None of them are in their original form. So we started a clandestine sort of site, which we can't even advertise because they'll shut us down. But you can get it on Roku, and it's called Exotic Movie House. And you can go to exoticmoviehouse.com.
Nice.
And all the movies we're talking about are up there unedited. But the problem is we can't promote it. It has to be just on the DL, and if people discover it, that's great. But we can't promote it because if we promote it on, let's say, our Full Moon Horror website, which has all the sort of straight horror stuff, it can get us shut down, and suddenly we won't be on Google, or it's just weird. And if I just recently, I don't know, you guys have all seen it, The Fatal Attraction.
Yes.
The movie.
Yeah.
Watch that movie again. It is so out there. There's so much naked banging and humping and weird shit. You could never make that movie today.
No way. Yeah,
Never.
I agree. I totally agree on that. Well, that's why I think that's why we love you, man. Because you just
For sure, man.
Yeah.
a little sidebar here too with this, man. We Jason and I have been pretty much binging. I think we finished so far every episode on your podcast. That you have available, the Charlie Band's Full Moon.
Oh,
Fruit
yeah, I'm
Show.
just starting that up again next week. Actually.
Okay.
Oh, right. Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you plan on doing any more of those. And
I do. I had to take a break because I directed this movie I'm excited about, which hasn't been announced yet, but it's the first movie starring a fully created AI character.
Oh, wow.
So I was so excited about this thing that, even though I'm trying to manage the ship here as you guys do, I had to step out and go, okay, let me put my dusty director's hat back on. And I directed it, and it just wrapped a few weeks ago. So between all that stuff, I just couldn't, the thing about the Freak Show, as you know, if you've seen them or listened to them, is every one of those I shot. I didn't want to phone it in. Nice. I didn't want to do stupid ass Zoom calls. To me, that's all like no. If I was going to interview someone, whether it was Rob Zombie or John Carpenter, they had to come to our little offices here, and I want to shoot it live. Because I like to watch the live part of it. I know a lot of people listen to podcasts and they got to drive, and so they're listening to stuff, and that's cool too. So it was up on whatever it was, Spotify or wherever people get their podcasts. But to me, it's got to be live. I want to sit with these people, most of whom are my friends, and talk about shit. So now that's the right time. So we've got about 20 people booked. So season 2 is on its way.
Well, dude, it's quality because there's so many big names you have on there. You mentioned 2 of them, but like Barbara Crampton, for example, what an episode that was.
She's
incredible.
Fuck.
She is amazing. She's amazing. I mean, Jesus.
No, that's there's tons. I mean, Cassandra, obviously, and stuff like that.
Bob Briggs, you've had on there.
Even people like wonderful writers, and they were just such interesting. John Logan is an example who wrote Bond movies, wrote Gladiator. Yeah, it's not just people you would maybe recognize immediately, but and that's kind of the theme of the next one. I've got some really interesting people coming over who you'll learn about as you listen to the show. So what's up with your convention? Tell me about that.
Well, yeah,
it's like in August, right?
Jump right into that, man. So yeah, it's we're looking at it's called the Gathering of the Ghouls, and look, everybody who's listening to this, not only they get to come in and we're going to watch Puppet Master, right? With a little bit of an introduction from Mr. Band himself, but we're also going to do a Q&A right after. Look, we got 30,000 square feet, and this is more. These aren't Charlie. Just so you know, I always try to tell our celeb guests that are coming in, this is not a celeb con, because everybody fucking does celeb cons, right?
Right.
This is a throw down, knock down, 30,000 square foot horror party. So, and by the way, you'll be Trauma team's going to be there. So you and Lloyd maybe do a thumb wrestling event or something. But it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be a blast, man, and it's going to be a huge party. And we're going to have a fun time watching, like I said, Puppet Master, and then doing a good Q&A with you, and because you don't do a lot of con appearances. I mean,
I do too. Let me tell you how this happened. I forget the Pope of Pain, right? Okay, I forget if it was you who wrote me, but honestly, there's so many nice letters and solicitations to do all these conventions. Now, Full Moon does about 10 or 15, and I've only done literally 2 a year. I go to Texas Frightmare and Flashback Weekend. I'll even go to the one here in LA. I make a visit. It's just I'm too busy, and I've done this for I did a road show for years. I did 200 cities. I mean, I'm just so burned out. Having said that, when I'm at a con and I'm there for a day, I mean, I enjoy it. But your letter you wrote me, I assume it was Pope of Pain's letter. Someone wrote me an awesome email. I thought, these guys sound so cool. Arizona. I was in Arizona. Who the fuck remembers? Maybe on my roadshow tour in the 15 years ago. And I thought, okay, I've got to come and do this. Plus, I have a good friend of mine who books lots of celebrities, and he's always saying, you got to go to one of these things. You don't have to go with all the merch, but you come up with some really cool photos no one's seen and some mini posters and sit there like everyone else and charge whatever, $40. I go, okay, so I'll be signing things that no one's ever seen before. And then, of course, the funny thing that, so I need a table, but the funny thing that happened with Carpenter is, and this blew my mind because I'm so in my world, I don't really pay attention to this whole convention fan thing so much, even though, I go to these shows and I know there are a lot of, celebrity types or people who were celebrities who I don't even remember. They're sitting at their little tables. So I get there and I forgot that John was there, and we had just had dinner a few weeks before.
Yeah.
So I go, let me go say hi to John. So I go up to wherever he's signing. There was like 8 billion people. It was like the line was endless.
Right.
And of course they all know me. So I walk right to the front and everyone, oh, hey, Charlie. And then John, we hug. And then I realized he's charging $125. And there were guys there who brought like 8 or 9 items for him to sign.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to spend like so I gave him shit. I said, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and that's like, there's some big celeb cons. It's a big thing, but it's we're trying to, like I said, do a little bit different. We're making it affordable to get in. And then that way people have tons of money to get those one-of-a-kind Charlie Band autographs.
Whatever it
How
is.
about that?
No, it sounds like fun. And I like the spirit of your letter, and I'll be there. It'll be cool. And I've never seen Puppet Master before. The last 20 years.
It's a good movie.
No,
you should check it out one day.
Well, we'll check it out. So listen, you guys keep doing your thing. You got all sorts of great energy and enthusiasm. That's all it takes. You'll live forever.
We're trying. Well, I just want to live as long as you, Charlie. That's all I want. So
hey, I'm just really getting started. You never figure this shit out, because just when you think you got it all, like, okay, VHS and shipping, boom, VHS is gone. No one goes to a video now. And I guarantee you, AI is going to have a big part in this. Somehow, our characters are the vibe you have. I don't know how it's going to translate exactly, but I'm waiting for it. We need another shot of energy, and it's going to happen.
I'm excited. Watch yours as well. So that's going to be good. So hey guys, go to fullmoonfeatures.com, buy their merch, buy their movies, get spun up, because August is coming, and we're going to be having a fun time with a legendary film pioneer.
It'll be great.
Mr.
We'll have fun.
Charlie Band. Hey Charlie, thanks for all your time, my friend.
Hey, it was a pleasure. You guys take it easy. We'll see you in August.
All right, we'll see you.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Man, is he just the coolest motherfucker?
What a fun guy, man.
Holy shit.
That guy's awesome. So, I can't, the energy, what is he, 75?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that too. Like, how old is this guy? In his 70s, right?
Mid-70s, yeah, or something like that. I just hope I have a fraction of that energy, man. He's still directing movies. He sounds like he's fucking 40. And
he's on a John basis with John Carpenter.
Yeah,
just John.
John. Just go to the front line of John.
And busting his balls about the price he charged. It's like, I love this guy, man.
No, it's gonna be good.
As if we weren't already excited.
And I don't want to look. He keeps busting my balls about the Pope of Pain. It was not me. I didn't want to. I didn't want to correct him right on the show and embarrass him. But Jay Decay wrote the fucking letter, right?
Oh God,
that was you, my friend.
That's dude. I'm speechless. Speechless. It made me feel warm and fuzzy.
Look at that. All right, that's what got him here to Arizona. Look, I'm stoked, man. So all right,
I do only Arizona appearance. I think we could say that.
Yes,
we could fucking say that.
Yes, that's right. And we'll get him. Not only we'll get him at the show, we'll get him at the store here as well, and have some fun, man.
Holy shit. And keep in mind though, people for the audience, Saturday only.
Yes. Saturday. Oh, good call. Yeah, he's only in for one day. Obviously, he's a very busy guy.
Sure,
you guys heard that. I mean, Jesus, he's got a few, 1,000 things going on. So Charlie's just coming in for one day, guys. So Saturday the 26th. Look, still get them weekend passes because Sunday we got some shit coming on that Sunday as well. So it's gonna be a blast. You guys can go to terrortrader.com. You'll see the Gathering of the Ghouls link, and you can pre-buy your tickets, or what do they call it, advanced ticket
sales. Yeah,
and it's cheaper. It is cheaper than at the door. You're going to save money, and you're going to guarantee your spot in this giant gathering that we're getting ready to put on. It's going to be a party. I didn't know how to explain it to Charlie.
No, but also just to piggyback off that really quick, you could bundle it too, because if you're interested in seeing the movie with him,
good call.
You got your ticket secured, and you got your ticket to the movie with Charles secured, which is
we have a VIP package. It's the Full Moon DOA package, right? That's Dead on Arrival. If you guys don't know what it is, that's industry terms. I'm just kidding. What industry am I in? But you can get that, and dude, we're putting together these bags, these gift bags for the DOA. Yeah, there's some rad shit that people are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Okay, yeah, you're getting more than your money's worth on that one. I promise you on that. So, good times, man. This is gonna be fun. So, wow. Can't believe we just talked to Charlie Band.
No, dude. We need to fast forward to August because I'm stoked to meet this guy.
It's going to be a blast, dude.
And I'm fired up for his next season. I literally thought the show was done because the rumor mill was that he was done with the show. Now he's got a whole season lined up with 20 guests.
Fuck.
Tune in.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
What a life, man. What a life this guy's had, man. All the ups and downs, too, was cool. Because he just rolls with the punches, right?
And I don't know about you, but when he said he's at Full Moon headquarters and he's got 3,000 movies behind him, like, I could see exactly what it looked like. I could hear the music.
Totally.
I could hear the... But then just, I don't know. I see him at the desk. It was such a little wholesome feeling.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I feel so happy.
No, it's... Look, once again, guys, we're doing a... I don't say you're doing me a solid because this is a what is it, like a Make-A-Wish thing? No, that's the wrong thing to say, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Fuck it, Make-A-Wish.
It is, man. I could die tomorrow. Who knows?
This is true.
Yeah. So, should we go out with let's go out with a little. I don't know. How about?
Oh, you got to. You got
Sorry,
to.
a little loud. Sorry.
This is how you conjure Jason from.
Anytime the Puppet Master theme plays in the song, you'll find me in heaven.
If you ever come in and look for him, and I tell you he's not here, play this song, you'll get him here. It's like the bat call.
Yes.
But yeah, man, as you said, come August 26th and 27th, and in the meantime, you can find all the information at Terror Trader on Instagram. Facebook as well, and TikTok we're trying to get better at.
Yeah.
At JDK Horror on Instagram. Ask me all the Gathering of the Ghouls related questions.
Let's go. Let's book this place, guys. Let's fucking pack it. Oh, yeah.